Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a special type of video. Um, as you know, I play a lot of these types of games. You've probably seen me play a lot of these types of games, and I wanted to talk about them kind of all at once by ranking them. So this is gonna be another rank video. I was trying to think about something unique to do, something that wasn't just another outcome memories video, another general video like that. And I came to this specific idea just because I have played a lot of these games before, and I think it would be kind of a cool retrospective almost, without being like a full retrospective. I might actually do that one day, I don't know. But this is more of just like a overview of a bunch of different games out there that you can try and play in the asymmetrical survival Roblox scene. And this is kind of my own opinion on which ones are good, which ones are great, which ones need some love, and yeah, kind of give my own ideas and opinions along the way, something that might be a little bit interesting. So I specifically handpicked these games. You might notice there's a lot of games that aren't on here. There's a couple reasons for that. Obviously, some of them are pretty cookie cutter, I would say. So those ones I didn't include. A lot of other ones also are just really old, and not a lot of people play them anymore. So I kind of didn't want to throw those in the roster. There's like one exception here, and I'll get to that when I get to that game. Um, but yeah, so some of those games I just didn't want to include. I also didn't include games I haven't played before because I think it would be kind of ingenuine if I ranked a game I haven't played before. So like, you might notice games like Bear, Banana Eats, Survive the Killer, they're not on here. That's just because I haven't played them. And again, I don't want to rank something if I haven't played it enough. So for those reasons, some of these games won't be on here. Sorry if you like that game. That's just my personal ranking. I'm gonna put down my mic. I don't want to hold the mic the whole time. So sorry. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna try and do this in a way that's as genuine as possible. I want to iterate this right now. Every single one of these games I think are good in their own respective rights. I think that all of them have the potential to be a S tier game, which I have put as goated. Um, you probably won't see me put many games up in that tier, and that is, for certain reasons that I will get into. But I think all of these games are good in their own respective ways for what they're trying to do. Does that mean that they're perfect? No. In fact, some of them I will be putting down in the bottom tier. So just be looking forward to that. But without any more stalling, let's get into it. So the first game I have on here is Fundamental Paper Education Survival, aka FPES. I think this game's pretty solid. It is very well polished. It looks great. In terms of balance, the killers obviously, or the teachers, I guess, the teachers definitely have the advantage in this game. You will die multiple times as a student. Sometimes, like, a lot. I have had games where I never die once, and then I have games where I die like 6 times. So, balance isn't perfect in this game, which I don't think it's trying to be because of the fact that you can respawn and everything. But another thing as well is there are specific special rounds that I think really hinder this game. The Alice rounds, as they're called. First off, even getting them, you have to, I think it's $10 just to be able to play as the special character, Alice, which is bonkers to me. I don't know why you would spend $10 on an asym game, but it is really fun. It is definitely kind of a powerhouse character who just kind of wipes the floor with everybody. But that's kind of the problem, is that if you aren't playing that character, it's actually really boring and really unfun when you just get killed like 5 times in a row in one round. I do think it's a fun game. I have a lot of fun playing this game whenever I do occasionally come back to it, but I'm gonna just set it, it's alright. I don't think it's like something I come back to very often, but I will come back to it every now and then just to, you know, dink around. There's not a lot of updates to this game, and when there are, most of it's cosmetic. So I think the entire time I've been playing this game, there's only like one major update to a certain character, and that was it. So, yeah. Next up is Five Nights Hunted. This is a more recent game that came out, and again, I think this game has some decent gameplay. It's very Dead by Daylight style, where you complete a certain amount of computers, similar to like generators from Dead by Daylight. It's computers though instead. It still has the skill checks and everything though. If you've played Flee the Facility, it might be familiar to you as well. And of course, during that, you have someone chasing you down. There's a lot of different options, I will say that, which is something I do like. There's already a lot of different options in terms of like who you can be and what your abilities are. I do like that aspect. What I don't like, and I don't know if this is like fully fixed yet, when I played, I didn't feel it was fixed. Camping in this game is really easy. And what I mean by that is basically, so if you get knocked down, right, if you lose a certain amount of health, you get knocked down, you get dragged over to the ball pit. It is really easy to just camp around a certain player once you have them in the ball pit. So it makes it really, really easy to just basically get a win by doing that. And I thought that was kind of boring. And the other problem, though, is on the flip side, getting that down can be a huge pain in the neck for certain characters, especially new players, because of the whole like crawling mechanic where you crawl under vents and stuff. I know this was a similar mechanic to, again, Flee the Facility, but it is like way worse in this game, in my opinion. It is really easy to just escape, and then, you know, the killer has to take a long time to get around to you. So I didn't like that very much. Another problem, and this game I think has it the worst, is the gambling. This game has a huge gambling problem, where literally anything requires gambling in order to like get characters in this game, and it really blows. I don't like gambling in Roblox games, so when I saw how much it was in this game, it was like, oh my gosh. So I think it's, I'm gonna have to put it down in meh. I think that the gameplay is fine, but the gambling alone really ruins it for me. And not only that, but again, just some of the problems I mentioned with the gameplay earlier, I think just really drops it low for me. I don't like games that require you to gamble. It feels a lot like it's trying to be one of those popular games where you like have to constantly gamble in order to get the best things to be the best player. It's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Get that out of my games. Just get that out of my games. Next is Flee the Facility. Obviously, this game's been around for a while. I don't know what to talk about with this game. I think it kind of suffers the same problem gameplay-wise as Five Nights Hunted, where it is fun, but there's also just certain problems that really drag it for me. One of the biggest problems for me is, again, just how easy it is as a survivor to get away. It's not as bad in this game, but it is pretty egregious still, especially like certain maps I've noticed. It is really egregious. Like, I'm trying to remember the one off the top of my head. I think it's the library. There's like a certain area that is really easy to just like loop over and over and over again. And as a killer, it's really hard. Like, once they turn a corner, they can just disappear. It's really hard to track survivors sometimes. So I think it's, gameplay-wise, it is fun, but like after a while, it does get a little frustrating. And there's not a lot of replay value either. For a game that's been out as long as it has been, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of replay value here. There's not a lot of reasons for me to like stay around and keep playing after like 3 rounds. So this is another game I think that just goes in like meh. I just don't see the reason to play this game a whole lot outside of a couple times. Next is the remake, also known as, I think you say it as agoraphobia? I hope I said that right. Right now, it's very early stages. When I played it, it only had one map. Already, though, I will say, it feels a lot better than Flee the Facility for what it has. The killer feels a lot better in the game. Like, I could actually, like, track people a lot easier compared to Flee the Facility, where I feel like I was struggling sometimes to keep up with players. I do think it still suffers the vent problem, but it's, again, not as bad. I don't. It's kind of hard to put it higher by a whole lot than Flee the Facility, though, obviously, just because, like, at the end of the day, it is just Flee the Facility, but remade. But also, it's in such an early stage. It only has, like, one map from what I played. I don't know if they added more, but, right, like, from what I played, there was only one map. And once you play one map enough times, it's like, okay, I've played this map over and over and over. So, it's not bad. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. I just think that you can't put it much higher right now. I think down the line, if they continue to update the game and put more content in it, I think it will very quickly become up here or even up here. I think it has the potential to get up here really easily, but right now in its current state, there's just not a lot of players and not a lot of reason to stick around, so I think it's just meh. But I think very quickly it can be up here. Next is Roblox Until Dawn. I think this game is... Oh, how do I describe this? So, I played this game twice, and the first time I played it, I couldn't even get in the game. Like, literally, there was just so few players that I couldn't get in the game. So, the first time I played this, like, I would have had it down here. Now, I did finally get a game, so I played all these, well, not all these, but some of these, like, right before recording this. Some of them I played a few days ago, so sorry if my brain's a little scrambled on some of these. But this game I played right before I did this video, and so I finally got a game, actually a few games, on this game. It's hard to describe this game. I think, again, it has a lot of potential to be up here. Maybe not goated, but definitely in pretty fun. I think the reason that it kind of falls all the way down here for me is because so first off, the killer and the survivor roster is, I don't want to say bland, but there's just not a lot to it, right? I mean, in terms of killers, a lot of them are, first off, scenes you've already seen, and second off, they're just not that interesting to me. Like, when I got to finally play as a killer, it was just kind of boring, and I also noticed the hitboxes are, like, really small, so trying to actually, like, hit anybody was really difficult for, like, no reason whatsoever. And on the survivor aspect, I think that, again, because the hitboxes are so small, it's really not that hard to just keep up in, like, chase for a very long time. And on top of that, the abilities are, I'm not going to say broken, but pretty solid compared to the killers, which just feel really mediocre. It's a very survivor-sided game. On top of that, the maps are huge, so, like, as a killer, trying to get from person to person takes quite a while, and the amount of time you have is very limited because of that. I'm not going to put it in not a fan, but I don't think it goes very high up. I'm going to put it like, I'm gonna put it, no, I think it's here. I think it's a little bit better than those other games just because at least it does have, like, a roster and it doesn't have gambling, but it's not by much, and it's just kind of uninteresting. I don't know. The gameplay loop is pretty boring because, again, it's so survivor-sided with how small the hitboxes can be sometimes, and because of how long it takes to get to players, as a killer, it's just really boring, and as a survivor, it feels like I'm not really doing much. Yeah. Next is Pwned. I think this game got a huge glow up. When I first played the game, back when it was only, like, 2 killers and 3 survivors or something like that, it would have also gone down here. Currently, I actually think it's pretty alright. Almost pretty fun. the roster has gotten a lot bigger now, and all the characters feel pretty solid. Um, I especially like Stalker. I think Stalker's a really interesting character. I think he's a very good mix between like strong but balanced as well, and I like that. As a survivor, I noticed that it is actually pretty interesting. Like each character's abilities are pretty interesting, whether it's like the prototype who I mostly played, which is actually a pretty good character. And then you had like Brandon Works, who is a pretty good support character, and I think his name was Jacob, who was the like shotgun character. He used to be the free one, and now you have to pay for him, but like his shotgun was pretty fun. So the characters themselves are pretty fun. I think the thing that holds this game down for me currently, and the only reason I don't want to put it up in like pretty fun or goated, is just because the gameplay itself, when you're not being chased, kind of suffers from other games problems where you're just not doing a whole lot. Like, really all you can do is hide or wait for the killer to start chasing you, which kind of sucks. There's not a lot of team play with this game at all, so that kind of drags it down, but I think it's another one of those games where it can really quickly come up here with like a little bit of love, but I think they just need a little bit more team play, a little bit more things to make it interesting. And actually, another thing I want to mention, this is one of the best games in terms of like a classic Roblox feel. I think this game does it insanely well. Better than like Forsaken, better than Die of Death, better than the Robloxian Until Dawn. I think this game does like classic Roblox feel the best. I think the only reason it's just not up here is, again, the gameplay loop can be kind of boring after a few games, because there's just not a lot to help your teammates out outside of like certain characters. So otherwise you're kind of just waiting around, and that's not really fun. But once you actually get in the gameplay, like in the chase and stuff, or like in Last Man Standing, that's when it gets pretty fun. But unfortunately, it can be a while until you get in there. Next, we have Pillar Chase. This one's hard for me. First off, I'm not talking about the recode. I'm just talking about the game currently available to play. I don't know how the recode is going to play. I haven't actually been able to play any of the recode alphas, so I'm not talking about the recode here. I'm specifically talking about the base game and all the memories I have with the base Pillar Chase 2. It's really hard for me to rank this. I'm gonna put it in pretty fun. Okay. Pillar Chase. Let me start with the positives. The roster is one of the best. I think it has one of the best rosters in, like, out of all these games. It's really, like, iconic characters, great mix between, like, IPs and original characters. All of them are, for the most part, pretty fun. There's a couple exceptions, of course, like when PCX was around, and like sometimes characters could be like overly broken to the point that they were unfun. Like one I remember a lot was like MX was broken, and like Forest King some people didn't like for their kit, but a lot of the characters are really fun to play as, and there's a lot of good moments in this game too. As Survivor, it was really nice to have things to constantly do with the objectives. I think that definitely helped compared to just like aimlessly wandering around for a while. And the abilities that they eventually added, I think kind of helped. But I personally, and this might be a hot take, I think the first downfall of this game was when they added Survivor abilities. I really wish they didn't do that, because it really tanked the game in my opinion. When they added the Survivor abilities, it made most of the killers a lot worse to play, and a lot of them just couldn't keep up. And so then they had to buff a lot of them, and so now you had to play certain abilities, otherwise it was completely annoying to play into certain killers, and if you had those broken abilities, then playing killer was unfun to play, and so it kind of tanked the game for me. and then obviously like half the IPs got pulled, and so half the fun characters were gone, and so that tanked the game even more. There was other problems as well, like obviously hitboxes were always complained about, and some of the maps were 50-50 at times. Like Oni's Mansion has always been kind of a sore spot for players. I think this game is really fun though. I think like at its peak, it would have been up here. I think in its current state though, it's hard to put it up here just because of what's going on. The fact that like the game's not going to be worked on at all until the recode comes out, and I don't know what the recode's going to be like, you know? The recode could be all the way down here for all I know. So I don't know, but in the current state of the game, I think it is still pretty fun. I still do occasionally come back to it, but I think between the recode being in the horizon, which means that a lot of the progress that we've made is probably going to be gone, and then also just the current state of the game with some of the characters being missing and the survivor abilities kind of making each game a 50-50 sometimes, I just can't put it in goated anymore. So it hurts to say that, but yeah. Next is Forsaken. Obviously this is the most important, or not important, but the most popular one right now. And if you haven't listened to my podcast on this game, please go and listen to it, because I'm going to rehash a lot of my opinions here, but I can't put it in goated. A lot of people love this game, and I almost want to put it down here or even down here. But I will give it the benefit of the doubt and put it at least pretty fun. This game can be pretty fun. I think that when you get the right games, it can be pretty fun to play Forsaken. The characters are really cool. The polish in this game is astounding. It's one of the best. A lot of what they do is really good. It's just hard to say that with the... First off, some of the current decisions are awful. There's just some decisions they make that I do not stand by and really dislike. And again, I get into that in the podcast. But a lot of what they've currently been doing, especially with newer updates, is just a horrible direction to take the game. Especially like cosmetics. A lot of emphasis is on the cosmetics, and I do not like that. I really don't like that so much emphasis is on the cosmetics in this game. I understand that's where a lot of players stick around for, is for the cosmetics and for like the milestones and all that, and that's great, but a lot of what they're doing with the cosmetics is also just a horrible step in their direction towards negatives, and a lot of problems that have been in the game for a long time are not being addressed because of that, like some characters just straight up being unfun to play as or play against. Hitboxes are still a massive issue in the game that I think they tried to fix it once and it didn't work, and then there was just no word on it ever since. So I don't know what happened there. As well as just development in general. Like, I think, and I said this again in the podcast, but the Noli update was just... Most of the Noli update was already known about before it even came out because they were teasing so much. So then when it actually came out, the update wasn't that interesting. Like, Noli wasn't as fun to play as when, like, in the playtest he was super fun, and then in the full release he was awful to play. He's still awful to play. I hate playing Noli. And all the other stuff was already known about before it came out. So it's like... it wasn't interesting. The update wasn't good. And then, like, all the Hacklord drama and some of the other drama with other cosmetics and certain choices they've been making, it's really hard to put it up here. I almost want to put it down here. You know what? No, I'm going to put it down here. I'm sorry. It's just, there's so... Again, this game is up here for so many people, and I just can't stand... I can't do that. I think that the choices they've been making are just not good for the game. And until I see them switch their direction and actually start focusing on things that need to be fixed, need to be addressed, I just don't think this game is where it used to be. Because before, I think it was up here. like prior, I think actually both of these games were up here. But Pillar Chase obviously had all its problems, and now Forsaken is just having a bunch of problems, and so I can't put it very high. Sorry. Next is Die of Death. I really like this game. I think it is going to be my first goated game. Die of Death is so fun. They recently had an update too that fixed a lot of my problems with the game and polished a lot of things about the game, and I think this was a massive, massive W on their part. The game itself feels incredible now. I really like what they've done with the game. First off, I like the fact that they're not taking it very seriously. So, like, in terms of development and everything, they're just having a good time. And I really like that about the devs. A lot of stuff they're doing is just for fun. The gameplay itself, I really like the fact that you don't know who you're gonna play until you're in game. So I think that makes it really fun because then every round feels a lot more fresh. The maps themselves feel pretty good. The killers, I like all of them. The only one I'm kind of mixed on is Artful, and that's just because the mechanic of basically blocking half the map off kind of sucks sometimes. However, all the other killers feel great. They play great. Even Killbot, or not Killbot, Killdroid. I think that's the name. Why am I blanking on this? Killdroid, yeah. Even he feels a lot more fun now. Like, prior, Killdroid kind of sucked. And, like, badly. He was awful to play as. Now I actually think he's pretty fun. Like, they gave him a new ability that is like a self-destruct, and it's really, really funny to use that ability. And in general, he just feels a lot more like polished and fun to play as. So I actually really like that. And then all the other characters, they've always felt really good. Harkin, Pursuer, they all feel fun. Cosmetics, I think are great. I really like that. The chase themes as well, really like those. There's really not a lot I can say in terms of downsides. There's really not a lot. Again, Artful, kind of. It's not terrible, it's just kind of a personal gripe with mine that, you know, half the map just gets blocked off sometimes when you're going against an Artful. But it is kind of balanced by the fact that Artful's, like, chase potential is pretty minimal. So it's like, it's kind of balanced in that sense. I just really like this game. I think it's really good. Not to say it's perfect, but it is pretty fun. Next is... I was trying to debate if I put this game in or not, but a lot of other lists did as well, so I was like, okay, sure, I'll rank it. Piggy. It's really hard because current Piggy I don't think compares to where it used to be. And that's for a few reasons. So, first off, I'm gonna put it up here. I don't know if I want to put it in goated though. I think it only goes up there. First thing, this game obviously isn't like most of the others on this list. It's very story driven, right? Which you don't see in a lot of these games, but it's very story driven. And it was obviously like it wasn't like an inspiration from Granny, just with a pig theme, Peppa Pig theme going on. But what it's become is fascinating. The story itself is obviously kind of all over the place. It's not gonna be Shakespeare by any means, but it is a story you can follow. It isn't impossible to follow the story. I think towards the latter end, like I would say, like the back half of book 2, it does get a little confusing, but everything else is actually pretty coherent and not too bad. And I do like that. It's not Shakespeare, but it's something you can follow. It is a passable story, if a little corny at times. The gameplay itself is also, it holds up. I mean, for being in 2025, it still holds up pretty well. They've been releasing kind of new chapters in between with like Decay and the holiday chapters and all that, and those were all great. The level of polish in there is pretty solid, actually. I think my biggest problem is just that a lot of the old chapters don't hold up anymore. There's definitely a notable problem where before the game felt really good, and now, especially in book one, I think is the biggest problem. In book one, a lot of chapters feel like over time they've just kind of broken down, if that makes sense. Where, like, for example, if you have a really small character, a lot of chapters become like twice as easy because you don't have to like crouch through the vents or anything, which kind of sucks because that is essentially pay to win. Obviously, that's not in like Piggy's problem, but it is something to bring up. And just in general, a lot of the chapters from before feel, when you compare like all of book one to all of book two and some of the new chapters, book one definitely shows its age. I think book two at least holds up on its own. Book one, though, it really does need some love. And that's why I don't want to put it, if this was total personal bias, I'd put it up here, but I have to still respect the fact that there are some problems with this game. Skins are also really good. I do like what they've done with the skins, especially some of the newer ones. The Pig 64 ones were awesome. I really like those ones. A lot of the community made ones were also really well done. There's a lot of cool skins out there, and this is another thing I really like. A lot of skins aren't exclusive either. A lot of the good skins aren't straight up exclusive only to certain like events or time periods, which is nice. There are obviously some that you can't get anymore, but there's not that many, and even for those ones that were exclusive, they weren't anything like insane compared to some of the best skins in the game, right? A lot of the best skins you can still go and get right now, which I think is a huge positive, right? And a lot of the good ones also are ones that have been community made. So I really like that as well, that a lot of the best ones out there are ones that A, you can still go and get, and B, are made from the community who really like this game. So that was another huge positive to me. So overall, I think this game is really good. I just think that, again, between book one not holding up really well and some of the other more minor issues like the avatar thing and just the game showing its age a little bit, I think it does drag it down. One more thing to bring up, the custom map scene is also phenomenal. If you haven't tried some custom maps or built one yourself, I think it's a really cool experience to just try and build one for yourself. It doesn't even have to be good. I mean, I have some, and they're not good. Don't get me wrong, like, none of my maps are good, but it's still a fun experience. I think it's something that if you have free time and you like the game, you should try it out, just to have fun with it. Actually, for that alone, I'm going to put it above Pillar Chase. I think if they went back and polished the book one maps again, I think it would be up here, like even over Die of Death. But until they do that, it's kind of stuck down here. So, yeah. Next is a spin-off of Piggy, which is Branch Realities. Actually, fun fact, a lot of devs who work on this game also work on Piggy. I thought that was cool. There's not as many maps, obviously, just because it's kind of a fan game. There's only, off the top of my head, there's 4 main chapters, and then I think there's like 1 or 2 spin-off maps. So there's like the holiday map, and there's another like side map you can go and do. This one's kind of hard as well, because, so first off, this game's a lot harder than Piggy. Even chapter 1, which is just the house, is a lot harder than the OG Piggy's chapter 1. So if you aren't good at these style of games, it's going to be a lot harder to enjoy these, like to enjoy Branch Realities, because they purposely do make them harder. They give you more time. I think like some maps are upwards of 15 to 20 minutes, but they are significantly harder to pull off. You have to do a lot more than just picking up items. There's a lot more enemies to be aware of. There's a lot more environmental hazards to be aware of. So that does make it kind of hard. Another big problem I have with this game is this game focuses way too much on exclusive skins. So they do really big events, and don't get me wrong, oh, there's 5 there's 5 chapters, sorry, the mall. I don't know why I forgot about the mall. So there's 5 chapters. But back to what I was saying. The events themselves are really cool. I really like what they do with the events, especially the winter ones. Those ones are really fun. The problem I have is that so many skins in this game are exclusives. So if you weren't there when they came out, you just can't get them. And the problem is that a lot of them are the best skins in the game, and they're like really well done. So you see these skins and it's like, oh, you can never get them ever again. And I think that's kind of lame. I don't know if they ever intend on making them available eventually, but I think that the fact that there's just so much exclusive stuff in this game really brings it down. There are some that are good that you can get normally, but when you compare the when you go back to OG Piggy, when you compare the ones that you can get to the ones that are exclusive, most of the normal skins, I would say, pretty heavily outweigh the exclusive skins. Like, there's a couple good exclusive skins in Piggy, but for the most part, the ones that you can get normally are just better and more interesting to get. When you look at Branched Reality specifically, a lot of the exclusive skins just blow the normal skins out of the water, which sucks, because that means that if you want to get into this game and have fun, you can't get half of the good content anymore. And I think that kind of blows. So, yeah. While the gameplay is really interesting, even if it's a little harder, and another thing I want to bring up is the quality of the maps heavily outweigh the OG Piggy. I would say, like, Chapter 1 is obviously kind of so-so, but every map after that is phenomenal in quality. Forest is really cool and actually very atmospheric, and then Metro, Outpost, and Mall are all insanely good in terms of quality. So I do have to give it props for that, but I think just the amount of exclusive stuff really bogs it down for me, and so for that reason, I'm gonna put it probably down here. And, like, it's alright, it's a fun experience, but I just think that if they eventually make some of the exclusive skins like something you can get again down the line, I think it would really quickly jump it up for me, like up to here or something, or here. But as it stands, it's just really hard to rank it any higher. Next is a new game, or new-ish game, Piggy Rush. It's kind of a mix between Piggy and Pillar Chase 2. I think this game has the potential to be really good. Like, really, really good. The modeling in this game is insanely well done. The maps themselves look insanely good, and some of the planned content they have is really good. Playing as Survivor is pretty fun, but the biggest problem I have is killers. A lot of killer or monsters, a lot of their kits are just really boring. There's a lot of monsters who basically are just hold W to win, and then you press a button and suddenly you get buffed tenfold, and as a survivor it's really hard to do anything about it. But then when they don't have that, it can be dang near impossible to actually catch up with them. So that kind of blows, because it makes playing killer really unfun sometimes. But when you do start to pop off, it's at the misery of all the other survivors in the game, because they can't do anything. So one side is constantly suffering in this game because of how the abilities are made for the monsters, and that kind of blows. On top of that, Last Man Standing also really blows. A lot of the maps in this game have special events, and the problem is that those events become really, really crappy, especially in Last Man Standing. One that immediately comes to my mind is the Metro. The trains that will go off every now and then, they can insta-kill you. So if you happen to be in chase and a train is coming, you basically have to take the 50-50 to either hope to God that you don't get hit while running, or have to try and loop back around so you don't get hit by the train. And both options kind of suck. So, yeah. As it stands, though, I think it is pretty good. I think I would probably put it there. I think that when you're not the side that is suffering, it is really fun. But unfortunately, one side is always kind of suffering with frustration in this game. And I think it's just due to the way that characters are designed, so it is something that is very easily fixable with enough time. Next is Dimensional Coalescence, and this game is also really, really good. Yeah, you're going up and goated. This game is also insanely good. They've been kind of going on some downtime now. I haven't seen a lot get updated recently, which does kind of suck, but I can see where they're coming from. They have had some stuff going on. The gameplay, though, so if you played Sonic the Disaster, it plays very similar to that, only it goes outside of just the Sonic franchise. A lot of the characters are really, really fun. The only character that I think I didn't have fun on with all my time playing it is Vortex, who's one of the EXCs in the game, and that's just because his kit kind of blows. But, like, every other character in the game is so fun. The maps themselves they're a little big, but I do like that. I like that they're big because of the way the gameplay goes. Because it's so team-oriented, it actually makes the big maps kind of work, because, like, every time you end up in a situation, you're usually in a different area, so you have to play very differently, and I think that's really fun. So the characters are really well designed, the maps are pretty well designed. Again, like, very small caveats, but they're pretty minimal. So really, like, this game is really, really fun. If you haven't played it, go play it. The soundtrack as well. Another game that I really like the soundtrack for. Super, super fun. Just kind of wish that there would be some updates. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, we'll soon hear some good news on that. I don't know if they plan on adding new characters. I think they do, but I don't know when they're coming. I think right now they're focusing a lot on just, like, general optimization and taking a break from the game. But it's a really fun game. If you haven't played it, go play it. It's really fun. Next is Outcome Memories. This is my favorite game by a long shot. This will be going up and goated. This game is really, really, really good. This game, so it just came out a few days ago, and already it is my favorite game by so many miles. The gameplay itself is super fun. I love how everyone in this game is viable. Like, no one is weak in this game at all. Every single character has an archetype. Every single character fits into the roster. Every single character can be fun to play as. The polish in this game is just insane. It is so insane how good this game feels, how good this game looks, how good this game plays. Like, the only downside currently is a certain mechanic that basically just makes the killer busted. But once that mechanic is tweaked, which I think they are already talking about tweaking it, once they tweak that one mechanic, I think the game will just be dang near perfect. It is so good. It's so, so good. I love this game so much. Another thing, again, soundtrack, beautiful. Love the soundtrack in this game. There is not a single bad track in this game. The maps are phenomenal looking. I think that some of them do play a little better than others, but not by much. Most of the maps feel pretty solid. I think it is just dependent. Like, the only thing that kind of sucks is that, like, if you're playing a character with a very strict archetype, it does kind of bog it down a little bit, because then, like, you need certain maps to play well. But that's only for, like, 2 characters off the top of my head, so it's not that big of a deal. Otherwise, the maps are fine. A lot of people complain about a certain map because of how gimmicky it is, and I just think, I don't know why they're complaining. I think it's just fine. So, overall, this map is just outstanding. This game is outstanding. I think that this game is already going to be the absolute king of the genre for quite a while, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. last on the list is Sonic the Disaster Reborn. It plays very similar to the OG game, so if you played the OG in the past, you basically played this game too. It's not too different. There's like a couple differences, but it's nothing that immediately pulls the game away from the original, and I do like that because it keeps the game familiar. Um, so where do I want to rank this? Where do I want to rank this? I think it's pretty fun. I'm gonna put it there. I love how I said I was gonna have games and not a fan, and then I never put a game and not a fan. LMAO. Um, Sonic the Disaster Reborn is pretty good. It's very faithful to the OG, and it's really fun. It is really fun. I think this is a great game if you have friends to play with as well. Um, I do think that there's a couple things that are a little iffy. Like, for me personally, some of the abilities can be kind of janky. Not many, but they can be kind of janky to play with. And there's also, this game definitely has a meta as well. Like, with games like Outcome Memories or Die of Death, there's not like a full meta to the game where you can kind of play anyone and be pretty successful. I do feel like that this game specifically, The Disaster, there's definitely a meta. Like, you can make any character work, but you will definitely find some characters to be a little bit harder to play without like proper teamwork and proper coordination and just time on the character. So that definitely makes it harder to enjoy the game because like if you don't have the time to just constantly be putting into the game, then it kind of drags it down. But that is my final list. Um, so like I said, I think all these games have the potential to be really, really good. I do just think that there's things that need to be done to some games to make them a little bit more enjoyable, like not having gambling mechanics, like not having so much exclusive skins and making them so that there's more to enjoy there, or just making gameplay loops a little more interesting, or, you know, fixing your development cycle. Cough. Again, if you haven't listened to that Forsaken podcast, I highly suggest you do. I had a couple of my friends who are also in like playing these types of games a lot, and they have a lot to say about it as well. So if you haven't listened to that, or if you haven't listened, I recently reviewed Outcome Memories as well. Go check those out. They're pretty cool. And if I can hype my friends in any way, I like to. So go check it out. But yeah, that's my final list. So I would love to talk about it. If you have your own thoughts, there's a comment section. Leave a thought. I will try to respond to it as best as I can. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end, and I'll see y'all later.